Now, KTBS 3 News continues.
We're back with our Your Money segment with Evans Financial. We do this every Tuesday, usually joined by Colin Evans, RFC. And Colin, back with us again this week. And today we're talking about required minimum distributions, RMDs as they're called. I said that as if I knew it, but I'm really just reading. I have no idea what this is.
Well, you know, a lot of times people that go through retirement, and as they're prepping for it, you know, they could be putting money away with their employer-sponsored plans, such as their 401k, or even if they don't have an employer-sponsored plan like an IRA, they might be sticking their money away. But what they sometimes tend to forget is they're in a partnership, and they're in a partnership with Uncle Sam. Right. And Uncle Sam still has some tax money that is now due. Right. And fortunately, you've got some time on your hands with taking out. Required minimum distributions are set up by our government, and this is when they say these are kind of the last times if you have to start taking funds out because we want to get our tax dollars out. Right. A couple years ago, it was 70 and a half before you actually had to start, required by law to start taking these funds out. But we had the Secure Act, which came out, and then it went up to age 72, and then up to age 73 to start deferring. But required minimum distributions are specifically the funds that are taxable that Uncle Sam is wanting to get his hands on. Right.
So why do these exist?
Well, you know, initially they were put in place so we can defer our investments. So by able to defer that, we're using a little bit of the magic of compound interest, and we're allowing these things to grow over time and being able to defer those taxes off into a later date. There's some pros and some cons, and you know, a little bit is you going into retirement time, you might potentially be in a lower tax bracket, which is a great thing because then you're going to have to pay the taxes on them at a little bit lower rate. However, which we have seen in the past with the rate that we've seen inflation and things that we've seen in our economy going kind of a little bit awry, and especially with the fact that we're $34+ trillion in debt as a country, I have a feeling taxes are going to be going up at some point. Yeah. So while we're still, right now, it's a big time for people to do Roth conversions just because they can convert them and pay them in lower tax rates. You know, without sounding political, we are still in Trump's tax code era, which are some of the lowest the country has ever seen. So in that is a little bit of a benefit for people to look at something like a conversion to be able to pay those taxes at a little bit lower rate. But those are existed just so you can really put the funds to work, and allowing those deferred taxes to work are also allowing your retirement accounts the potential to grow. So that's kind of the reasoning that they exist, so you can push those taxes off and defer them out into a later date.
Well, that does make some sense. We've got about 30 seconds here. How much do you withdraw with these?
You know, when it goes into it, it's actually based off of a calculation from December 31st of the year prior. They look at the kind of like the account balance of that day, and then they make a calculation based off of what is your current age, and you're looking at a mortality table. It's basically kind of how long do I have left in my lifetime, and that's what the IRS tax table uses. And it's just based off of each age, and there's going to be a little bitty percentage that's tacked down to it. And the closer we get to kind of our expiration date, the higher that number is slowly going, because as we're getting closer towards the end of that, Uncle Sam is making sure that he's getting all his dollars out of there, because as taxes are, you know, it's one of those things that I've all heard. There's two things that are certain in life. It's death and there's taxes.
That's it.
Uncle Sam is going to get it.
That is it. Real quick, if anyone wants to get a hold of you guys, visit you at Evans Financial, what do they do?
Absolutely. evansfinancial.com, or you can drop us an email at info@evansfinancial.com.
Colin Evans here with us every Tuesday. We appreciate you, my man. Someone who's not with us every Tuesday, Skip Cordes.